Hi, I'm Wes Allen with DM Tales. My little has shared a cold with me, which I'm beginning to get over, which I am thankful for. The days are getting longer, so my annual February depression is beginning to wane just in time to be messed up by the time change and allergy season. It's a good thing I've got coffee. Now, the various chemical impulses impacting my state of mind are having a field day with my cognitive processes, leading to some interesting trains of thought. These are some random TTRPG thoughts. Let's roll it. My thanks to all the folks who backed the Orshan incident. Our goal was $700 and we ended up raising just a little shy of $2,800. Dave and I have a lot of background work to do, which we've already started, but I am psyched to get this adventure into people's hands. I'd be remiss, though, if I didn't shout out Monty Cook Games for broadcasting this project. It was a huge boost for us. And Dave, thank you for making sure all of this happened. I got to play Shadow Dark last week. I was a talky human thief with a noble background, and the rest of my party, they were a blast. This is such a fun system to play. If you have not tried out Shadow Dark, I highly recommend it. My interview with T.R. Nickel was amazing, and I am now even more of a fan of this talented, kind, and ambitious creator than I was before our chat. If you have not checked out her work, go over to Red Rose Works to see what she's done. And go check out our chat on my channel if you are so inclined. We do have some tangents, though. At one point, we compared our favorite tap water memories for just about 5 minutes. How to tell the people in the chat are neurodivergent without telling the people that the people in the chat are neurodivergent. We talked about tap water for 5 minutes. It was actually kind of fun. The Squirrel Cometh! Skrat, the rodent behind the fantastic Nuts system and author of the cool fantasy novel entitled Bashkin, as well as the creator behind the A Squirrel Plays YouTube channel, will be at Ecclesicon 2026. Now, sadly, he is only able to travel in his human suit, so he will not have the squirrel playing his saxophone running around the convention. If you do not understand that joke, you need to go check out Skrat's YouTube channel. It's really cool. I gotta tell you, his reviews make me jealous. If you'd like to meet the squirrel in person, in his human suit, you can pick up your Ecclesicon badge here, May 1st and 2nd in Palmyra, New Jersey. We're bombing Iran for reasons the regime keeps changing anytime their previous reasons didn't resonate with the American people, and they're not doing a great job of this. The poll numbers go down. Our service people have been killed, which doesn't seem to faze the Orange at all, and the Secretary of Defense seems to think his actual job is to crow about the wisdom and strength of glorious leader. Also, suddenly a bunch of folks who didn't want us involved in foreign wars are now saying what a great thing it is that we're involved in a foreign war and how Iran is a terrible regime. I don't know how we got to this point where you either back yet another war which has zero exit strategy and less preparations for its wider ramifications. We've got a lot of U.S. citizens who are stranded over there. The government's doing pretty much nothing to get them out. Or you're on the side of the Iranian Revolution. This is a ridiculous false choice. You can think a regime is bad and still think our country's actions are stupid and dangerous. Now, I will offer grudging respect for the folks who are in the cult who are finally going, but you said, though it will be interesting to see if that sentiment has any legs, because up to this point, the cult has not been able to sustain any sort of long-ranged criticism of the cult leader. Now, on the home front, Secretary Noem went before the Senate committee and the House committee and got ripped by people from both sides of the aisle because not even the Orange's staunchest allies can look at the job she's done and say, we want more of that. And she annoyed the Orange so much that she was fired, only to have an even less qualified person put forward as her replacement. This is going to go great. Texas played games with their primaries voting in Dallas County, leading to a mess with the polls and throwing into doubt about which vote should be counted. I'm sure Texas Republicans will use this to whine about not being able to trust blue counties with voting when they created the problem. In other news, there's a post going around reporting that officers in the U.S. Armed Forces are telling their subordinates that the Orange has been anointed by God to bring about Armageddon. Now, I want to be very clear on this. That theological sentiment does exist among certain Christian sects. There is no denying that at all. Making end times junk is pretty much an evangelical industry. But the claims being made about this particular instance of it spring from one Substack post with no corroborating sources except a watchdog group that claims it received over 200 complaints about this. Only their site shares exactly one of those complaints, and in the place where they share it on their site, they also repost the Substack post which references that one complaint. There are some huge red flags going off for me about this report. When something is too perfect as rage bait, and this is a good example because this sentiment is real among a good number of folks claiming my faith, it very well may be too perfect. One of the nice things about my Tales of Argosa campaign is everyone has decided to purchase the book. So last week after we ended a fight, which means we'll be using the rest mechanic early on in our next session, but instead of having to explain how that works from scratch when we sit at the table, I sent out a message telling folks which pages to read ahead of time so we could know how it works. Now, will everybody do it? Probably not. Folks forget stuff and folks are busy and it just flies out their heads, but some will, and that helps a lot when explaining some of the things the characters are able to do. Rescues and exploits are two other things that I pointed out that people should look at because they make the game much more interesting. And it's really cool being able to just give them a page number and say, look at these things, and then we can reiterate when we get to the table. I love that. I'm prone to let my tables become too large because I want people to have an opportunity to play, and I don't have enough time to run more games than I already am. But I gotta say, keeping my Tales of Argosa table down to 4 players is one of the better decisions I've made about running a game. Things just move so much faster. Continuing with the Argosa theme, that makes this kind of a less than random thoughts, but my last session was wild. The party managed to sneak past a group of unknown humanoids who were serving as nominal guards. They weren't really paying attention, using a group check, and that was cool. And then they went around a bend and they saw a chamber that was covered in puffball mushrooms growing in a field of dark, we'll call it soil. The group wanted nothing to do with those mushrooms, so one player decided to send in a flaming arrow to light them on fire. That was kind of an unexpected outcome there. And that alerted 2 of the beings who were there in that chamber who were tending the fungus, and they started shouting out an alarm that there's a fire, there's a fire. And the guards didn't like that at all because it's not their job to take care of the mushrooms, and if they lit something on fire, that's on them, although the players didn't understand any of this. And while the guards are shouting at the people who are in the mushroom and the people who are in the mushroom chamber are shouting at the guards, one of the PCs decided that they were going to shoot one of those beings in the back. And that sounded a major alarm, which the group started hearing shouts coming from just about every direction in these tunnels that they were in. It led to a major fight. And one character decided to run to a door he saw and seek a way to escape, and he cracked the door open only to discover a room full of giant spiders. He shut the door and said, "Not that way, folks." Another character turned the corner because he wanted to see what was ahead, like what's making the noise, and he found a whole mass of the same beings who shouted their defiance at his appearance. They rushed forward while that PC actually ran back to the rest of the group shouting, "I went somewhere I shouldn't have! I went somewhere I shouldn't have!" And then the group used the terrain really well during that second wave of the attack, but one PC did end up going down. He got better. It was the same person who went somewhere he shouldn't have. And the group altogether took some really tough hits. It was some of the most fun I've ever had with an introductory fight during a game, because this was their first major combat encounter in our 2 sessions. And here's the cool thing. As much fun as I had leading this group through this little merry chase, the group still doesn't have a clue what's going on in this world, and it's so much fun. February got filled up so fast, I didn't get to run my Numenera in-person game, and that bums me out. I really need to rectify this situation because there are things I want to explore with the group. Don't forget, Ecclesicon badges are on sale now. The boutique convention will take place May 1st and 2nd in Palmyra, New Jersey, mostly in the basement of my church. The convention is a fundraiser. 25% of proceeds will go to repaying my church's roof replacement loan, 75% go to a phenomenal literacy organization called Book Smiles. Their one mission is to get books into the hands of kids, and to do so they are saving books which should be on the shelves from being dumped in a landfill. If you are in the Philly area, South Jersey area, or even a little bit further than that, and you're looking for a fun time rolling dice and helping stories come into being in multiple ways, come on out. The DM Tales TTRPG Book Club is coming back March 25th at 8:30 p.m. We'll be covering Daggerheart's final 3 chapters, which should be an amazing time. If you'd like to take part in our off-stream book club discussions, all you need to do is become a coffee contributor. That will grant you access to the DM Tales Discord as well as the book club forum channel that's hosted there. Comments made in that forum may pop up on our live stream, and in the future, participants in that channel may even get a chance to be part of our streaming panels. There's probably going to be episodes, in fact, where I just serve as the producer instead of on-screen talent. Go check it out. I am reading, or rather attempting to read, Coriolis the Great Dark. I'm getting sucked into Daggerheart. So please look for a review on that in the near future. After that, I've got TMNT, Redacted, and Savage Worlds Rift in queue, as well as the setting books for both Land of Eam and Dolmenwood. I'm also kicking the tires on laying out some thoughts about what I'm looking for in the games I run, so look for some of those videos soon as well. I am looking forward to bringing all of this to you, and until we see each other again, folks, happy playing, everyone.